can do it. You can go create. Just get to it. I promise you'll feel great. Because life can get ugly, and art sure can too. What matters is to do it. Let those feelings flow through you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ugly Podcast. It's me, your host, Laura Alexander. I use they, them pronouns, as you know. That's still who I am. Today, I'm wearing a big black t-shirt with a little tree for Lebanon on it, and I look otherwise the same. Most of you know who I am. My guest today has worked as a producer in events, content, and film, as well as a project manager and team lead, and recently has started to truly explore her own creativity through having previously thought of herself as quote unquote not the creative kind. Now she's trying different hobbies and art forms and not waiting for permission or needing to be perfect as part of figuring out what a creative life looks for her. So naturally, I had to have her come chat with me about it because that sounds a little familiar to me. So, welcome. Please introduce yourself with your name and your pronouns and a brief physical description, if you would.
Hey, hello, hi. Thanks for having me. My name is Anya. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm so happy to be here. I also wear a black t-shirt with a big orange on it. So it's black,
blue writing,
blue writing, and an
Oh, but then
orange.
there's an orange below it.
There's an
That's right.
actual orange, and it says orange, which is great because I love that word. I used to always pronounce it orange. I don't know, just for fun. And then I saw the t-shirt and I had to have it. If you know me, you know that I love to say orange. Yeah. So what else? That was my physical description. I don't know. Yeah. Is that enough?
Yeah. I mean, you can also say like how what your face and hair look like.
Right.
Yeah.
I am a strawberry blonde person with long hair and a lot of freckles, I guess. That is, I guess. Wow, I never actually described myself. I love that. Yeah, I should have prepared that better. I just thought it would come to me.
I should have told you ahead of time. Not everybody does physical descriptions in podcasts, so
Yeah.
I could prepare my guests more for this.
No, I love it. It's good. It's more genuine that way.
Well, I'm so glad you're here, Anya. Thanks for agreeing to come chat with me. I want to just like jump right in. Where did that identity of being like not the creative kind begin in your life?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, obviously, because I'm describing myself as not the creative kind. But I actually have to say that I don't think that I had like a particular moment or a couple of like specific moments in my life where this belief formed. I think it was formed over the years. But I think the closest thing that made me believe this was probably just having a very talented big sister that I constantly compared myself to, not anybody else, but just me. And she was very good at drawing and just in general very talented, I guess, in all fields. And me, 2 years younger, obviously wasn't as good as her in certain things, in most things. And I guess, compared myself to her and saw that she can do things that I cannot, which was maybe because I was younger. Maybe it was just, just talent, I guess, even though this word is always a bit tricky, I guess. But
yeah, it is.
But yeah, and over the time, I just kind of got the idea that I'm probably just not creative. And it was always like fine for me, I thought. And then I guess school, where you sometimes also explore these things. So I wasn't exploring my creativity at home a lot, because it was kind of like, oh, this is her thing, I better find my thing. And then at school, where you have like art classes and music classes, it wasn't really enforced to be creative. It was technically just about being good at it, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
having one right answer for everything, and being good at exams, right? And that's not what creativity
Right.
is about, that we know now, right? There's no right answer. There's just like, yeah, kind of more like fun and play. But that wasn't it. I guess that's just like a school thing. And I think because I kind of already had the mindset of, well, I'm not good at drawing, and I don't want to be bad at something at school, and I don't want to embarrass myself, I better not try. And as like art and music is a selective in Germany, I kind of didn't really go to the classes for a long time. Even though I loved art, I loved music. I was listening to music all the time. I was dancing. I loved art. I loved everything. So it was very absurd that I kind of like just, ignored it, because I didn't want to deal with why there's this discrepancy of I actually love it, but I'm not doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just lived like that for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people just kind of end up there because it's easy, especially when, yeah, it's like it maybe doesn't come as naturally or something. And so, like, well, yeah, I'm just not gonna go there. And it's really
Yeah.
easy to just like, just ride out in your lane without trying to explore. Yeah, school too. Yeah. The the whole not having a right answer thing to this day infuriates me
Mhm.
because I loved being right on exams.
Yeah.
I loved getting A's. It was my favorite, and now I don't get A's. I
I
mean, I
know.
give them to myself, but it's not the same.
I know. It's such a weird concept, too. I mean, I get and I understand why we need exams in school.
Sure.
I get that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it just doesn't mix with some subjects. And it's just, I mean,
Yeah.
you can still kind of probably like quiz people on like art history or whatever. But just in terms of, I don't know how like art classes are in the US, but you also don't really learn skills. So you don't learn play, you don't really train creativity, you don't learn skills. The whole concept is somehow, I don't know, maybe just in my experience, it was I guess for people who, I don't know, it was is I think it's yeah, it's not really encouraging, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
to students who aren't naturally talented, I would say, or who have the self confidence and just trying things, It doesn't
Yeah.
really bring out the, hey, everything is okay here. Everything is fine here. You cannot mess up. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people, like my sister-in-law in particular, went to school to study art and like fine art and graphic design, and she left that experience like very quickly, didn't like ended up switching her major, like stopped making art, like completely left it because all of the like here's how to do it right grading of her creativity and like the judgment just completely left her feeling like, nope, I can't do this. And like to this day, she still struggles to like make visual art. Um, yeah, it really there needs to be more of a balance of like, yes, we need you to do well on exams, and like here are some ways that a lot of people have found success in making art, but we also want you to follow that intuition and see what art means to you. And so how can you kind of explore both of those things without making people feel like they can't trust themselves because they're going to get a failing grade? Yeah, absolutely. And then now you're on this journey to explore what creativity means to you now. What motivated you to start exploring that? Was there like a big shift in your life or an aha moment of some kind?
Again, it was, I guess, a lot of different things, but it yeah, I think it kind of maybe started. I mean, it started a little bit during COVID because we were at home, I guess, everybody, and I just started to paint a little, which I've never really done before. But it was just kind of a little bit of a play. I didn't have a big mindset shift of, oh my God, I am creative or whatever. It was just like something I started doing. And I realized that I really like the state I go into when I paint, like this flow state, I guess. And I just spend a lot of evenings doing that, but I didn't really had the it didn't really change anything. It was just kind of like a new hobby, and I always had a lot of hobbies. They were never really artistic. They were more like I guess sporty hobbies or whatever. And that was just like one new thing I was doing. But then in 2022, I think I left Berlin, and because I wanted to move somewhere else and kind of like try to find a new way or a new lifestyle that I liked. And it, like, I changed everything. I wanted to move to a new country. I wanted to start a new job. I wanted to kind of experience different types of lifestyles, because I think I was just I just kind of stumbled into oh, you have a job, you live in a city, like our normal, like kind of,
all the check
that's,
boxes that we
yeah,
fall into.
I checked all the boxes, but I felt like, no, actually, that's not really me, but I don't know where to start. So I kind of like changed everything. And I think while searching for how I want to live, I always, you do these things of you picturing your perfect life, or you picture your perfect house, or you picture your perfect job, whatever. And every time I pictured something, I had this vision of me being surrounded by art, by music. I always pictured of having like a little music studio or like an art studio. And then I realized, wait a moment, why do I picture myself having an art studio? I don't even paint regularly. I don't, I'm not even creative. And then it always like came up. And for some reason, I always thought there will come a time when I can do these things, But then it just like, I think it just clicked at some point that I will never be able to write an album if I never pick up a guitar, And it's just,
that'd be really hard.
Yeah, right?
Be quite difficult.
I know it's so dumb, but sometimes we don't have I don't know why. And it just came to me one day, and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to start like playing the guitar again, because I used to play it when I was a kid. And I'm gonna paint more, and I'm gonna put more effort into these things in terms of not really like learning a skill, but just like accepting that this is a part of me that I love, and that is totally fine to just do for myself. And I think that was the big shift, that I accepted that I can do these things without having an ulterior motive. Like, it doesn't have to become like a success. It doesn't have to be like a financial thing. It doesn't have to be a side hustle. I don't have to be good at these things. I can just do them because they are fun to me. And once I understood that, I think I just got super obsessed about like the creativity, talent, genius, all of these like things that have, I guess, these societal beliefs around them, right? When we think of creativity, when we think of talent, of genius, we have this picture in our head that this is how you have to live, this is how you have to look. And I just started to research. I love to do research. I started to research these things and read a lot of books about them. And I don't know, I just somehow it just came to me that I am creative and that everybody is creative and that we need creativity, and that I was oblivious of by not seeing it before. And I don't know, it just came, you know how it is when you go in the rabbit hole and then just like everything kind of shifts, and then you see all these different kind of little things that are tiny, but in this moment feel like massive. Like the same way as, you know, like understanding that I'll never make art if I don't start, you know. It's like a tiny thing, but it kind of like was big in that time. And so yeah, let me think, did I answer the question? Where did I start with this?
Yeah, I think you definitely did. It sounds like it was like a big build up, and I love that you had the research phase. I don't know about you, but I tend to be like a procrastinator, where I will just read things about something so that I don't have to actually do it, and want to learn as much as I can so that when I do start, because I'm going to start someday, I think, maybe, but I want to have as much information as I can. So it sounds like you also had a procrastinating phase. Although it sounds like you were also doing it while you were doing maybe it was all mixed in together. But I do.
The thing is, I'm like I can completely like see myself in the procrastinator learner. But I'm sometimes the complete opposite. Sometimes I don't want to know anything about this. I just want to start. And for example, like with crayons, oil crayons, I don't know if you have to know a lot about them, but I have no idea about any technique, but it's so much fun for me to paint with it that I don't want to know any skills. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to start, and I'm not going to give, maybe it's also some sort of fear-based kind of starting, because you don't want to have any skills, so you cannot be bad at it, you know?
Well, I think that's exactly what I do with like my whole ugly art thing is like, I don't want to have instructions because I don't want to let that like get in the way of like how my brain naturally wants to figure things out. Yeah, I totally get that.
That's I definitely love understanding a little bit more about it and getting. I don't know why I got so obsessed about it, but I felt it was intense. It was definitely I don't remember how long the period was, but let's say like 6 months, where I was literally obsessed about just creativity and like hobbies in general. And I then started like different groups with friends where we would like try out hobbies, and I was like constantly reading something about it and listening to podcasts and all of these things. So I think it's super interesting, and it just, I mean, maybe I'm still obsessed about it. I think I still am.
It sounds like you are, because you have this platform now. Excellent segue. Called Not the Creative Kind, which I love. Tell us more about that and how that has come to be and what your goal with that is, or your vision, I guess. It wouldn't be a goal, but
so I think okay, let me start like this. So I started different hobbies.
Sorry, there was an alarm going off.
Everything good though?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
This is my partner waking up.
Okay. So yeah, as I said, I started different like creative things with friends at the beginning. Just that came from the urge of me doing more creative things, making art, and just getting back into the flow state that I used to love during COVID. And I just wanted to do it more and just wanted to do something with my hands because I was working in front of the computer a lot and I just had the urge. I think that a lot of us have sometimes. And so I started these groups where we would just like do random things. And but that was at the time when I was traveling, figuring out my life. I'm still doing that, by the way. And so I was moving a lot. So I started these groups, and then I had to leave them again, and I started them again, and it didn't feel great. So I realized that I wanted to do them online because I was moving so often. So I started to do creative hobby groups online, and to make it fun and a challenge for me because I love challenges, and that's how I kind of keep being motivated. I have to finish challenges. I think I'm very competitive that way, and so I set myself a challenge of trying one new artistic hobby every month for a year, and I was looking for people online who would join me, and that's how my platform started. Not the creative kind, where I just ignored my fear of being visible online and started to post about my hobbies and trying to find people who join me. And it kind of, I think my first hobby already had people joining the group, and it was great. And so that's kind of the reason why I started Not the Creative Kind, I guess, to find these hobby groups. And then it grew into much more than that. It grew into exploring creativity more for me. It grew into realizing that creativity is about like self-expression and about mental health and survival, even everything, all the biggest things. And me learning about it more, talking with so many people about it, hearing so many different stories of why people are not creative, as not creatively active, I mean, or why people think they're not, or why people have lost it, and all these things. And it became so much more. And now I think my platform, or my whole journey, is shifting towards not only allowing time for creative hobbies, but also like figuring out what a creative life is. And that's not just creating art, that's so much more. It's like kind of living outside of these societal boxes and all of these things that actually is funny now that I'm saying it. It's like where I started as well, but I didn't know that yet. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I've been doing it since last year June. So I have 2 hobbies left, and I've done my challenge. So I'm very proud that I'm still doing that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Have you had like a favorite hobby that's been something that you would just want to keep coming back to?
That's such a tricky question because I keep going back to crochet, which wasn't my favorite hobby actually, but it's just so useful.
Yeah.
all my other hobbies weren't useful, and I was a little bit I mean, useful for the world, all useful to me, but crochet is such a good thing to just know and just to take out when you're bored, or when you're on a plane, or when you're on a train, or when you need a last minute gift, or when you need a hat, so I've been like taking it out the most often, I guess. But my favorite was sketch. I think I did 1 month of sketch where it was just so easy. You could do it anywhere. You just needed a pen and a pencil and a paper, and I don't know, you just started seeing the world a little differently. You know, you just started to look at everything in terms of, oh, where does the light hit it, and how do I see that in like
Yeah.
2D kind of, you know, like how would you draw that? And it was one of the first hobbies as well. So maybe that's why I remember it so fondly. But I have to say, I'm not doing it that often. So
Hmm.
yeah, but I'm busy with other hobbies, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's so fun. I love just like the playful nature of it. And like that's like how to do one of those like a big challenge like that. Like I see so many people pushing to do like these big challenges, but then they end up being challenges that aren't so joyful.
Mm,
And like but when you are able to like find the joy and the play in the challenge that you're doing, it's just like something that you want to do.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That was
Also,
important for
this
me.
isn't to
Yeah.
say oh,
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no, 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 no. Go ahead.
Oh, I just had to do a disclaimer for all my fellow neurodivergents out there that like if you try to do challenges all the time and you never complete them, I see you, I am you, and I respect you. And don't stop challenging yourself because it's sometimes something sticks and sometimes it's fun, but also don't
Yeah,
get too down on yourself when you don't. All right, that's my
yeah.
PSA for all the neurodivergent queens
But
out there.
I mean, I yeah, I kind of wanted to say something similar because I am that person as well. If I
Yeah.
don't start a challenge, so I start so many things. I have so many plans. I want to learn everything. I want to read everything. So, and then what happens is I never actually either never start these things or like just do one thing and then stop because I feel like,
Mhm.
oh, it's hard or whatever, or I have a new plan or something else. So I'm a very like I always have like 10 different projects going on. But this challenge actually was a bit easier for me because I'm switching every month. And I
Mm.
didn't challenge
Yeah.
myself to like do something every day. So doing something
Yeah.
in a month can mean that you do it twice, right?
Right.
And that's not a lot. Sometimes I do these things like every day. I challenge myself to like draw something every day for my doodle month. But
Yeah.
sometimes I had this in December. I had this hobby where I wanted to do gift cards or like little Christmas cards or
Mhm.
whatever, and I think I sat down twice to paint them, and I was very frustrated at the beginning. But then I said, you know what? It doesn't have to be like a full time hobby, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it's a busy time. It's fine if you, that's still something that I otherwise would have never done. And
Yeah.
I think that's what helped me with the challenge because it's a bit flexible. Um,
Yeah, it's not all or nothing.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the way to do it. I love that. I want to keep talking about this, but for while we do, I would love to make some ugly art with you
Ooh,
if that sounds fun to
yes,
you.
yes, that's something I'm good at. Okay. Ah, yeah, I've done ugly art with you before, and it was so much fun.
Yes. You came to my Creative Mornings field trip, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
That was
That
really
was
fun. I
I
really love
yeah.
Yeah, I
Go
want
on.
to just quickly plug Creative Mornings for
Yeah.
anybody who's not familiar with them. Creative Mornings is a group, an international group that puts on free workshops. They do them in person all over the world, and they also have these things called field trips, which are their virtual workshops, and you can go learn how to do so many things on their workshops. Some of them are kind of more like therapeutic in nature, some of them are like how to's. Like I've gone to one that was how to write a song, and I've gone to one that was how to carve a potato. They can be very silly, they can be very serious, and so I put on my workshop through them, of subverting your perfectionism using ugly art. And that was a really great time. And so that's how I got introduced to Anya and everything that she's doing. So
Yeah. How was that for
Yeah.
you? The thing for me, it was. I think it was my second creative morning, and I loved it so much. I think I told every single person. How was that for you hosting it? I mean, there were a lot of people.
There were a lot of people. It was a little overwhelming. Especially because like I think like 500 people had actually RSVP'd, and so I was kind of like going into it, I was like, I know 500 people won't be on this call, but like that's a lot of people. Like the most I've ever given this workshop to is like 10. So like it was very overwhelming. But Creative Morning, like the people who run it, I think their name was Lauren, who was helping me run it, and like they were like um what's the word, just like managing the chat. There's another word I'm looking for, but I can't think of it. They were managing the chat, and then they like introduced me, and then kind of carried it over into the after party, which was just 15 minutes of people continuing to chat, and that was really fun to be able to like talk to people after. um I do wish it had been longer because I
Hmm.
wanted more people to be able to like share what they made and like have that moment together, but I do kind of pack a lot into that workshop. So I think I might need to like either shorten it so that we can have the sharing, or just see if I can make it a longer workshop in the future. But I loved it. I thought it was a really fun time. Um, and yeah, I love making terrible art, and just yeah, that whole workshop is really fun for me. And I've
Yeah.
been able to do that in person recently, which has been really fun.
Oh, how
And a really great
cool!
change to get to see people.
How
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
But yeah, it was many. I think it was over 300 people, right, in that
yeah.
hall
Like
or
actually
something.
present that day, I think
Yeah,
something like that.
it was a lot.
I had to, in order to like get through the workshop, I had to just not really look at the people. I just kind of, I'd look through the chat when people were doing like the journal prompt and the actual art session, so I got to see what everybody was saying, and everybody was so kind. One person reached out to me because there was a typo in my workshop, which of course there's bound to be, but she she was like, are you trying to trigger all of us perfectionists by having a typo in your workshop? And she sent it directly to me. She wasn't like calling me out in the chat or anything, and I thought it was hilarious. I was like, well, there it is.
Crazy. Well, I didn't
Yeah.
notice. I didn't notice. But yeah,
Amazing.
the concept of ugly art is um not new to me because I've been doing it.
Yeah.
I've been making ugly art, but I never thought about it that way. And it
Mhm.
was something that I don't know was I don't know. I just love it. And since I've done the workshop with you, I've been doing it nonstop. So
Yay.
thank
I
you.
love to hear that. Oh, that makes me so happy.
It's so much better to like, like sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna make ugly art because it's just it just feels intentional. And sometimes because I'm not so great at some of my hobbies, it just feels like a little bit frustrating. And but the making ugly art, has the same benefits of just making beautiful art, I think, for me
Mhm.
at least, right? And
Yeah.
you even pointed out that it has other benefits, right? Overcoming perfectionism, etc. So but for me it's been great because it kind of gives me I don't know, like a sense of achievement that I sometimes don't have from making stuff that is not so great. So yeah, thank you. It was cool.
That makes me so happy. That's exactly why I do it. And I love that like I've talked to several people who kind of go along this journey because like ugly art is inevitable once you start pursuing a creative life. It just is. Like
Mm-hmm.
it just
Mm-hmm.
once you decide like, oh yeah, I want creativity in my life, I'm willing to pursue this, I'm willing to be uncomfortable, then ugly art is inevitably going to show up and it's inevitably going to change your life in some sense. And I love running into people like yourself who experience that and then are like, I want to invite more people with me, because this is a really great way to live, and I don't think enough people know about it. And so yeah, I love what you're doing with like Not the Creative Kind, and the creative challenges, and like the philosophy, like the creative philosophy type discussions that are like stemming from it. I'm curious what the most surprising thing has been for you along that journey, as you start like inviting people along with you. Like, what stands out to you as surprising or delightful?
I think for me, just in general, learning about creativity, and I think you had a guest on that talked about something similar. But for me, the most surprising thing I learned was how important creativity actually is, and how it's actually linked to like survival and survival instinct, because this is something you would never think. We kind of always think, oh, creativity, yeah, it's something a bit frivolous, whatever, right? And I don't even mean survival in terms of we need art because we need, artists, but I mean like it's in terms of that creativity helps us see a brighter future, just like individually, not even seeing art itself, but just like having a creative mind, just being open to different ways of thinking helps us to want to survive, I guess, in like tough times and things like that. So that was really, I don't know, profound to me. And I love saying that to people when they're like, oh, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what was interesting also is how many people have that mindset of that they're not creative, and how deeply it is embedded in us. Because even like when I speak with some people, and those are people mostly that aren't joining my hobby groups, but these are outside people that I then explain what I do, and it's so embedded that they are not connecting with it at all. And I was I don't know if I was one of them before, but it's crazy how difficult it is to see that we are all creative, and that creativity is not like talent, because we confuse it so often with like talent,
Yeah.
And I think that was really, really, like interesting to me, because I thought, oh, I had this epiphany, so everybody else must understand.
I know, it's always the way we're like, I found the purpose to living, and you need to know it too, because it's
exactly.
correct.
And it's not. This is the right way of thinking, and I just need to tell you, and then you will understand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been like the most like one of my things is very much like, I don't know, I felt so unbelievably stuck and unhappy before all of this, and I see so much of that reflected in people, and then when I'm like, do this thing, they're like, there's no way that what you're saying can fix all these problems. And I'm like, no, of course it's not going to fix problems per se. It's not going to fix the fact that we live in a strangling capitalist society. It's not going to fix the fact that, like at least over here in America, we're dealing with fascism. Like that's not going to be fixed by making ugly pictures. But like, it's going to allow us to live under these systems in a way that is joyful and resilient and resistant to that idea that like we have to live a certain way, and we have to follow their rules, and we have to be productive members of society. Like, no, we get to be silly little geese and make silly little pictures that bring us joy, and nobody can take that away from us. And I'll be damned if I don't say that a million times until people get it.
Yes, I 100% agree. I always say, like, the most radical thing you can do is be unproductive in
Yes,
our
exactly.
meritocracy. But yeah, I 100% agree. It's so, and I think, I mean, obviously, it's not gonna fix our problems by painting ugly pictures, right? But it does do something to you. It does change. It changes your perspective. It brings connection. I don't want to be like too over it, but it brings connection. It brings people together, and I mean, we need this connectivity. We need like hope. We need confidence, and we need all of these things to change. I'm not saying that to change the systems, you know, and it yes, it helps us to live in the system as well. But I think it helps us to have this hope and this together we can maybe change something. And so I think I'm totally with you on that. I think it's super important, and that's kind of the survival I've been talking about, because
exactly.
I don't want to be dramatic, but I feel like it's coming to that point where we need that. We need, and we are in a, it's not only in the States, right? We are.
Yeah, the world is weird right now.
Yeah, it's like waiting.
It's wild time.
It's wild time, and I think we just need to. I don't know. I don't have any answers, unfortunately, but I know this is not a. It feels like this brings more like confidence, more happiness, more joy, and that's what we need more of. Not to like forget what is happening, but obviously you cannot do anything when you're just like blocked, panicked, and procrastinate.
Yeah, that confidence piece is so important. Like, the confidence I've gained from making terrible art all the time is, it's kind of hilarious. Like I used to be so self-conscious. I still am a very self-conscious person, but like when it comes to just like being silly and embracing whatever my brain wants to do and like put it out in the world and be like, who gets it? I love it. And it also, that confidence makes you like want to engage in the world more, not pull away from it. And that's what we need, is we need people to be engaged, more than,
exactly
a blank page, I guess.
Like,
I don't know.
Oh, that's
all right, what did you make?
So I actually love it.
Yeah. Ooh, yes.
Inspired by my orange t-shirt. So I started with an orange, and then I just thought I'm gonna throw some tie-dye colors around it, and it's not ugly at all.
It's amazing. I love it. Those are some really vibrant colors. I love it. Was that the oil crayons?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. That's so good. I love the shading and everything.
What did you make?
I made, let's make sure I can.
Ooh,
I made a cute little butterfly
with orange wings. No, they do look like oranges. I love it.
Yeah, I just really, so I always just like start with a scribble, because I'm like, I don't know where to like what my brain wants to do, so I just let my hand do a scribble, and then it just slowly started turning into a butterfly. And this is like very much like the butterflies I would make as a kid, and so I was just like, yeah, this is my kid time. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, that's good to start with a scribble. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Amazing. This has been such an awesome conversation. Is there anything you'd like to end on?
Oh, I guess what I like about this is a lot of pressure. I love.
You have to get it perfect, Anya.
I know. Wait, let me make an ugly picture and then. No, I just want to. I guess I just want to thank you. It was so much fun being on here, and I can't wait to explore more of what this creative journey will lead me on and will lead you on and everybody else. And no, that was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah, thanks so much for being willing to come on a podcast and chat with me and come to my workshop and make terrible art in general. So how can people get involved with you? How can they find you and get in touch with you?
Yeah. So, I post stuff on Instagram and on TikTok, and I always invite people to talk to me on there. I have a website with a link to my newsletter, which is technically just announcement of my new hobbies and like how I create the hobby groups, etc. So you can definitely join there. I then everybody that joins my hobby groups comes into these WhatsApp groups where we can actually then chat both ways, not just one way, like it normally works with newsletters and Instagram. So you can reach out technically on every platform, not on YouTube yet, but yeah, and I am also hosting some workshops soon. First in person. I'm in Spain right now, so I'm going to do it here, but soon also online. So watch that space and maybe join the newsletter so you will know when it will happen. Yeah.
Sounds good. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, everybody, so much for listening. As always, I hope that you go forth and keep everything ugly. All right, bye. The Ugly Podcast is created by me, Laura Alexander of Scribe and Sunshine. It's produced and sort of edited also by me and written and directed by absolutely no one. Our theme song was written and produced by the amazing Zoe Tronic. If you like the podcast, be sure to rate and leave a review on your preferred platform and share with the creative people in your life. If you're interested in learning more about what I do, head to scribeandsunshine.com to learn more about my ugly art workshops and my editing services. If you haven't yet today, I dare you to make that thing you've been thinking about making but have been too scared it's gonna be terrible. Make it terrible. And as always, keep it ugly.
You can do it. You can go create. Just get to it. I promise you'll feel great.